Hey guys, welcome to my Insidious Chapter 2 review. I went and saw the movie last weekend. Regrettably not the Friday that it came out, because that would have been super cool, Friday the 13th, and then go see a horror movie, stuff. But I still enjoyed the movie. I saw it on Sunday, I think. Might have been Saturday. I don't remember. My weekend was crazy. I don't really know what happened. It didn't even do all that much. It just boom, it was gone. But having seen the movie, I really enjoyed it. I had my reservations about it because it is in fact, a sequel to a horror film, and if I've learned anything about movies over the past 22 years, that's how old I am, by the way. I've learned that sequels are usually not that great, and if it is a horror film, the sequel would be the worst thing imaginable. The worst. But to my relief, Insidious was not. It was actually a really good movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I enjoyed the first one because the first one to me, yeah, it was a horror film, but at the same time, it was kind of like an adventure thing. Like, I've always wondered, like, what would astral projection really be like? And I don't really feel like that's like a spoiler or anything, but essentially that's what they're doing. Astral projection, concepts of it have been around for a long time. And this movie kind of utilizes it in kind of a scary way. And so, having that element mixed into the horror genre is a unique concept. I don't think it's been done very much. I mean, you could say like the Friday 13th series kind of like hints at it, like the Freddy Krueger stuff kind of hints at astral projection in a certain light, but there hasn't been a lot of movies that like directly relate it to astral projection like Insidious does. But back to the second movie. I mean, it was good in a whole different way. It felt fresh and new, even though the concepts they kind of brought a lot of stuff over from the first one. It seems like they kind of tied off some knots with the first one as well. A lot of things that the little loopholes they went ahead and kind of filled them in and gave us kind of sort of an explanation, but they still left some things open-ended, which is good because I don't want everything answered for me. I would like to be able to speculate in theory craft because that's just fun to do when it comes to movies like that. But I mean, aside from the fact that it kind of followed in suit with that Insidious vibe, it was definitely more horror adventure than it was just straight just I'm just gonna scare you constantly until you give up. I mean, and that's definitely something to bring up is that this movie has scares without it being just full of blood and guts, or full of like unnecessary language, or sex and boobies. Like most horror films, that's what they do. They get rated R for those things. This movie's actually rated PG-13. And I believe the first one's actually rated PG-13. I could be wrong on that, though, but I know that this one for a fact is, which is kind of encouraging in a way because it's kind of like, they didn't have to do all those things that are normally conventional for horror films, and yet they still made a satisfyingly scary movie out of it. And, I mean, some of the things were, just beyond scary. Some of them were just disturbing. I'm not going to tell you what those moments were. It's just that they were so shocking that they just disturb you. And that I thought was a really interesting, way to increase the creepiness of the movie. Especially like the settings, like the locations. Oh, everything was creepy. Like every single location was creepy. And I don't know how many of them were sets, that they actually built. I know like the exterior shots of like some of the houses and stuff was just like, oh, it just sent chills down my spine. Because I would hate, like living in that house or, even going there for like a night. Like I would hate it so much. And, from what I was able to understand, it had the same writer and director as the first movie. So, That should have been my first clue. That would have been kind of a good movie, but I don't know. You can't always tell just based on that. But I would say, when it comes to like a rating system, I would say as far as all movies go, I would give it a 4 out of 5. And as far as a horror genre goes, 100% I would give it a 5 out of 5. Not even a doubt in my mind. It's a 5 out of 5 horror flick. Everybody should see it. If you like horror, you should see it. If you don't like horror, you should see it anyway, just because, there's more to it than just it's going to scare you. There's like a message with it in a way, kind of like kind of a light at the end of a tunnel type of a concept to it, and I found that very encouraging in a horror film. So that would be my review of Insidious Chapter 2. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments below. If you have a suggestion for the next movie to watch and for me to review, go ahead and put it in there. If it's one that's been out for a few years and you're just curious to see my reaction to it, I don't know, let me know what it is. I'll watch it and I'll tell you what I think. But as far as movies that are coming out in theaters, I have 2 that I'm planning on seeing that come out September 20th, which is Rush, because it's named after the station or the channel, and Prisoners. I'm really excited about Prisoners. Not too excited about Rush, but I think it'll be interesting because I believe it is a Ron Howard film, so it'll be fun to watch. So we'll see how it turns out. But in the meantime, you guys have a fantastic evening, and stay tuned, and I'll have more reviews and more news for you guys.